it's Jess from Pizza Books, and today I'm here with my spookathon TBR. I am so excited for the spookathon. Kayla from Books and Lala hosts this, and she's one of my favorite booktubers ever. Even though we rarely ever read any of the same books, I love her videos, and she inspires me to read thrillers, even though I'm not a thriller reader. I read a thriller not this past week, but the week before, and I just felt totally out of my element, and it was super scary. But I actually have 4 thrillers and 2 kind of romantic suspense books on this list, so I'm very excited. I have 6 books I want to read. I'll probably add on an audio that week. I don't know what I want to listen to yet, so if you have any good audiobook recommendations for thrillers, let me know down below. I would love to know. But I will go ahead and get to my list. I believe it starts on Monday, so I have a 4-day week, so we have Friday off. It is the end of our first quarter, so I'm very excited to have a lot of reading time, but I'll go ahead and get to the books. The first challenge is to read a thriller, so I have 4 on my list, so any of these can count for that, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that one and get to the next challenge. So the next challenge is to read a book with red on the cover. I have 2. They are both Book of the Month books, and both of the Book of the Month symbols are red, but that is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And then The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This one is about a woman, I believe, who ends up murdering her husband and like shoots him like 30 times or something, and she's like a normal person, so they're like, what drove her to do this? And she won't say anything about it, so this sounds very interesting. And then The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware sounds like a Smart House gone thriller, and I'm very excited. I love Smart House growing up, but it did terrify me that that woman like took over the house. So this should be interesting. I've heard really good things about both of these. So they're both thrillers and they're both red on the cover. The next challenge is to read a book with a spooky word in the title. So I'm reading Born Madly by Trisha Wolfe. This is book 2 in this series. Madly is my spooky word, and it's really short. That's why I wanted to read it for this challenge and for this readathon. And this one is about a psychiatrist and her patient who is a serial killer falling in love. And so the first book was really good and really dark, so I'm very excited to see where it goes here, because it did leave on a cliffhanger and you're like, well, what's gonna happen next? So I'm very excited to finish out the duet and see how everything ends. Next is to read a book in a spooky setting. So I chose No Exit by Taylor Adams. My dad actually read this and really loved it, and he's really hard to please when it comes to books because he cannot stand anything that's slow or boring, and so this apparently is fast-paced enough for my dad, and it counts for the spooky setting because it's in the middle of a snowstorm and it's like at a rest stop, and the woman is just stuck at this rest stop, looks in the car next to her, and there's someone in a cage, I believe. So sounds really creepy, and I am terrified of that, and so I don't know how I'm gonna do reading all these creepy books. I'm a scaredy cat. I can't even watch the trailers for thriller movies without being completely horrified. I watched The Ring, I think my 9th grade year of school, and like literally never wanted to watch scary movies ever again. So I'm a scaredy cat, but we'll see how this goes. There's only one more challenge, but I have 2 more books. So the last challenge is to read a book out of your comfort zone. This entire readathon's out of my comfort zone. If it's a thriller, it's out of my comfort zone, so any of these can count. But for this one, I ended up just buying today at Half Price Books My Lovely Life by Samantha Downing. This one is Dexter meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and so it's a married couple and they murder people together. So I've heard really cool things about this book, so I'm really excited to give it a try. I couldn't resist. It was like $13, but I had 20% off for the Educator Weekend, which was very exciting, so I got a couple books at Half Price Books today, but it ended up being like $10, so I couldn't pass it up. And the last book on my TBR is just one that I really need to get to this week, because it is our book club pick for Ravished by Romance, and that's Raphael by Tilly Cole. It's a very, very dark romance. I read the novella, and they're all just like these innate killers, and the main guy, Raphael, it's his brother and all these other guys that were like, not kidnapped, but like taken in by these priests because they don't have any family or parents, and they all have this evil inside of them, so they all want to kill, and so he like finds ways for them to kill. And I'm pretty sure there's a romance in this one. There was not in the novella, but I'm very excited to read this. It's speaking to my dark romance soul, so I'm very excited to read this as well. That is a very ambitious stack. I feel like I can do 6 books in a week, especially since I have a 3-day weekend, so I'm very excited for these. But let me know your thriller audiobooks down below so I can listen to something next week that's dark. And yeah, let me know if you're participating and what you're excited to read, or which of these you're really excited for me to read if you've tried them out. As a non-thriller reader, I don't know what to expect. But that's all I have for you. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.